Russell Westbrook is a bona fide superstar and an athletic freak of nature. Just this past season, he averaged a triple-double. That's only the 5th time that's been done in league history, and he's done it 4 of those times. So signing a player of this caliber should be an absolute home run for any team, right? Yet when the Lakers signed him, the move was met with skepticism and downright ridicule in some instances. Why? Well, one reason is that nobody likes to give credit to the Lakers for anything. But another reason is that the fit is questionable, to put it nicely. Russell's strengths are similar to LeBron's, and both of them need the ball to play to those strengths. And of course, there's only one ball. Even so, redundancy isn't always a bad thing. However, more so than overlapping strengths, Westbrook's weaknesses pose much more of a problem for the Lakers. So let's discuss how they can possibly mitigate those weaknesses for the success of the team. Probably Westbrook's biggest and most obvious weakness is his shooting. And when people say he's a bad shooter, they usually refer to his three-point shooting, because he's actually a pretty good mid-range shooter. But back to three-point shooting. Last season, he shot 31.5% from 3, and that dipped to 25% in the playoffs. Yeah, not good. But why is it so important to have good three-point shooting? And why is it important that Russell Westbrook in particular be a good three-point shooter? Well, in general, you want to have good three-point shooters to help with your spacing when you're on offense. When you're a threat from three-point range, this forces the defender to play you closely to prevent a good three-point shot. If most or all the offensive players are threats from 3, and everyone is positioned behind the line, this creates space for the ball handler to drive to the rim. And if all 5 players are threats, this can potentially leave the paint without a rim protector. This is where guys like LeBron and Westbrook can feast. So why is it important that Russell Westbrook himself is a good three-point shooter? Well, presumably, both LeBron and Westbrook will be sharing ball handling duties. That is a big reason why the Lakers got Westbrook, so that he can help relieve LeBron of the burden of initiating the offense. Traditionally, when LeBron has the ball, he likes to be surrounded by shooters so that he can have space to get to the rim and make plays. Although that hasn't really been the case during his time with the Lakers. Yet, they managed to win a championship anyway. But therein lies the main argument the critics have on this Lakers team. Can Westbrook be effective off the ball? And can he just stick around the three-point line when LeBron has the ball? There's no question that shooting is a weaker part, if not the weakest part, of Westbrook's game. And critics like to point out his three-point percentage when talking about his fit on the Lakers. Well, that stat can be misleading, especially in regards to his role on this particular Lakers team. Yes, he shot 31.5% from 3 last season. But if you separate pull-ups and catch and shoots, he shot 28.3% off of pull-ups and 35.6% from catch and shoots. 35.6% is just about league average. So if your main argument for Westbrook being a bad fit is that he can't shoot, that's simply false. Because if he's playing off ball when LeBron is on ball, presumably he'll be in catch and shoot situations where he's shooting about league average, which means the defense will have to respect him from that distance, and that will in turn, create that much needed space. This isn't a Ben Simmons situation where he won't shoot and the defense can just ignore him. Westbrook has the utmost confidence in himself. So if the defense decides they'd rather leave him open than give LeBron a lane to the rim, he will shoot that wide open three. Sometimes he can have too much confidence and shoot his team out of a game. But if we look at the stats, we can see that it's more of an issue on his pull-up threes, and that's really what's bringing his percentage down. So that's definitely something he needs to work on. He needs to significantly decrease those attempts this season. But now that he has LeBron and AD to help with the load on offense, he won't have to resort to those poor attempts as frequently. Now, should he just be standing around the three-point line when he's playing off the ball? Absolutely not. While he is a serviceable catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, that's not one of his strengths. He needs to be very active off the ball. There are plenty of things he could do without the ball in his hands. He can cut to the basket, set screens. He could just be constantly moving around to wear down his defender. He could possibly get a look towards the basket or another good look for a jumper. People act like he's totally useless without the ball in his hands. He's not completely foreign to playing off the ball. He played with Kevin Durant. He played with James Harden. He even played with both of them at the same time. Now, he probably won't average a triple-double this season, but the Lakers don't need him to. Now, inevitably, there will be a situation where the spacing is awful, either simply because the lineup that's on the floor, or because the opposing defense prefers giving open jump shots over looks at the rim. In these situations, the Lakers can utilize their post game, which can still be effective with the crowded defense and poor spacing. With post plays, you're already starting the possession close to the basket, and therefore won't need to create a runway to get to the basket. The Lakers have 3 excellent post players, including Russell Westbrook. He usually has the advantage on his defender when he's on the post, especially when it comes to strength. Space can then be created by playing off the post. The best thing the Lakers can do for Westbrook is to play Anthony Davis at center. And a lot of rumors have indicated that that's what's going to happen. We know AD doesn't really enjoy playing center, especially in the regular season. But all these players will have to make sacrifices and adjustments for the benefit of the team. We all know that center is AD's best position, but it also unlocks Westbrook's full potential. When he was on the Rockets, he was much better once they got rid of Clint Capella and they played their micro ball. This freed up space for Westbrook to get to the rim and create for others. Playing Anthony Davis at center can do the same. AD can play like a perimeter player, but he's 6'10", so they would have all the benefits of playing small ball without any of the disadvantages. This also allows them to have a faster pace on offense and have more opportunities in transition. If you don't want to deal with spacing issues and the defense crowding you, the best thing to do is to not let them get into a position in the first place. LeBron and Westbrook are probably the best transition ball handlers in the NBA, and Anthony Davis is one of the best finishers in transition. And they don't even need to be in full-on transition. They can just initiate the offense very early. Both LeBron and Westbrook have the ability to rebound the ball and take it the length of the court themselves. But they also have the vision and IQ to pass the ball ahead or make another play when necessary. If the Lakers can be a fast-paced, run-and-gun type team, this will mitigate any type of spacing issues they might have. So when it comes to Russell Westbrook's offensive weaknesses, I'm not all that worried. He's not Steph Curry, that's for sure. But there are things the Lakers can do to work around Russell's slightly less than average shooting. And at the end of the day, These are three of the greatest offensive players the league has seen. So they'll figure something out. I mean, the Lakers are no stranger to having bad three-point shooting and poor spacing. It's been that way for the past few years, and they still managed to win a championship. So they should be okay. What I am worried about is Westbrook's defense. Now, he definitely has the talent and the physical tools to be a good defender. He's never been a guy that the opposing team seeks out on defense. So that's a plus. But a lot of times, he's disengaged and gets lazy on that end. That's usually when he takes his breaks on the defensive end so that he can conserve his energy. And many times, he sags off his man to try to get to the rebound. This often leads to a wide open shot for his man. Well, the good news is that the solution to this is simple. Just don't do it. Don't hunt for rebounds. Don't worry about triple doubles. Don't worry about stats. Just play winning basketball. But it's not like rebounding isn't an important part of defense. After all, when you get a defensive rebound, that means you get a stop. And there are times when that is the best role for him on defense. We saw it a lot with him and Steven Adams. The big man would box out his man, leaving Westbrook to get the rebound, where he would often be at a physical and athletic advantage over his man. And as we discussed earlier, this can lead to early offense or semi-transition opportunities. But you can't leave your man early and potentially give up a wide open shot. Westbrook is more than capable of being a good defender. He definitely has his moments. Defense is often more about your mentality and desire. It's more about will than skill. If Westbrook is focused on defense, if he's willing to commit on that end, then he can be a great defender. We all know that he has the mental toughness to do so, and he definitely has the athleticism to back it up. But he's going to have to be aggressive on the defensive end. So in summary, to mitigate Westbrook's weaknesses, Russell Westbrook himself needs to take less pull-up threes, he needs to be active when off the ball, and he needs to be focused on defense and not prioritize stat padding. And the Lakers as a team need to play AD at center more often, play in the post more, and they need to get into transition as much as possible. Russell isn't a perfect player by any stretch of the imagination. He definitely has his flaws, but so does every other player in the NBA. He may not be an obvious fit with LeBron and AD, and there's going to be some growing pains and probably a few losses because of it. But the Lakers can still make this work with a little sacrifice and a few adjustments.